Now then, there's a clip doing the rounds on social media, on the internet in general. It's gone quite viral. It is of the New Zealand Parliament, where it kind of erupted the other day over a bill introduced by someone, and it didn't go down very well with the Māori representatives. And so they were having a vote, and then a female Māori representative stood up, ripped the bill in half. It was a piece of paper, I'm assuming it's the bill, and then started the Haka dance where other Maoris in the chamber joined in, and it was all rather cringy. It was embarrassing to watch. And when this breaks out, you can see the Speaker of the House's face. He rolls his eyes as if to say, oh God, not again. So can you imagine putting up with them doing this all the time? And he has to suspend parliamentary proceedings because of it. He shuts Parliament down. And I know and understand that these people have a tradition and the Haka is world famous, but in this instance it didn't work. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Haka is it's a war dance, and I think all the New Zealand international teams, they perform it before a match. And even then, it's pointless because they lose at everything apart from rugby. I think they can get away with it when the All Blacks, when they play rugby, because nobody beats them. They are the best in the world. And so it makes sense. Now, at the end of the day, looking at it logically, it's a fearsome war dance of a conquered people. So you'd think they'd give up doing it by now, wouldn't you? And of course, because the Haka is a non-Western, non-Caucasian cultural thing, then we have to, pretend it's a good and mystical and mysterious and fearsome tradition. It's a declaration of war, isn't it? Didn't they do this before facing each other, different tribes, before wiping each other out, before the British turned up and installed some stability? Now, the Māori reckon they are the indigenous peoples of New Zealand. Now, depending who you talk to, they either were or were not, because other people say they turned up after they finished massacring other tribes in the area and then wiped out the inhabitants of New Zealand. So that's the Māori and that's the Haka. Of course, I don't live in New Zealand. I don't know much of their politics, but doing my research here and talking to people whom tell me on a regular basis what's going on down there. Evidently, the New Zealand government have bent over backwards for these people for decades. They've given them millions of dollars. They're always apologising. Ironically, they're apologising to a people whom they conquered, that they themselves violently conquered New Zealand by wiping out the original inhabitants. And so they've been pandering to these people now for quite a long time, and this is what they do. It's never enough. They've given them money to the tune of millions, grovelling apologies, pandering, and given them special rights more than other New Zealanders get. And when an MP introduces a bill which suggests everyone gets the same treatment, nobody gets special rights, they do this, they kick off. I mean, this is what happens. It's a fantastic, perfect case of giving an inch and them taking a mile and wanting more. Reparations isn't a one-time thing. It just goes on and on and on. Now, these MPs in the New Zealand Parliament, they got up and they got in the face of a politician called David Seymour who introduced a parliamentary bill that they really didn't like. And for some reason, the Māori, well, some of them, they don't want equality with the rest of the country. Now, his bill, this David Seymour MP, it was a concrete legislation meant to provide everyone in New Zealand, whether they were Māori or not, are entitled to the full protection of the law. And it also makes clear that New Zealand is a self-governing nation and the Māori are not a nation within a nation. So everyone's together, everyone lives together under the same laws, equality. What's not to like? The Māori get to keep their traditions and their haka and whatever else they do, and nobody gets special treatment. But that wasn't good enough. They didn't like that. They didn't like other people having the same rights as them. And so they kicked off, and this clip has gone viral. It doesn't look good because people are making fun of it. they have gone a viral laughingstock. And there have been people on here making videos on this which are far more unkinder than mine. And that's maybe because I understand that our culture here in Britain, and yes, we do have a culture and we have traditions here in Britain as well, but they are slowly being eroded away. And even though I think the Haka is silly, I also understand it's their culture after all. And it was just their way of protesting, but it's kind of backfired. I think it would be the equivalent of, I don't know, the English or the Reform Party or the Tories, back when the Tories were the Tories, all breaking out into a Morris dance if they didn't get their way in our Parliament in London. Can you imagine that? I mean, something so British or English that Marxist Keir Starmer has to flee the House of Commons, the chambers, due to the dance being so traditional and so British that it scares the pants off him. And there we go. I'm past 49. Thanks for watching. And until the next time, Roger Trout.